Welcome everyone to the first Meet the Candidates session, and thank you for attending to hear from each of our candidates. I am, well, if you look at the screen, the City of Brockville Planning Department, but actually I'm Rob Nolan, and I am the past president this year, which also makes me the chair of the nomination committee for EDCO. I'm pleased to see that so many candidates have been interested in leading EDCO for the next 2 years. We're going to begin today with introductions. So each nominee will be able to speak, and we're going to go alphabetically by their last name. Each will have a maximum of 2 minutes to speak, to provide a brief introduction of themselves and their experience. And then we have a set of questions which we'll pose to them as well, and be looking for some quick answers from them so that we can make sure we get to everybody. So first of all, can we have Hannah Conroy introduce herself?
Most definitely. Thank you. I got married about a month ago and I was debating changing my last name. Maybe I should have, and I wouldn't have had to go first today. But hi, everyone. My name is Hannah Conroy. It's nice to see some familiar faces and virtually meet some new faces. When I think back to starting my career, I graduated with my business degree. I was super motivated to succeed, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I started my first internship working at the Small Business Enterprise Center, which was co-located with the city's economic development department. And I had never heard of economic development before, but I quickly became interested in it. I loved the pace. I loved the problem solving. I loved working with various stakeholders to tackle challenges and, implement projects that really had tangible impacts in our community. And fast forward 9 years, and I've been working in economic development across the province, and am now in a senior economic development officer role at the County of Simcoe. And throughout those 9 years, I've had the opportunity to learn from amazing leaders and colleagues and work on various portfolios, from investment attraction to sector development and workforce development. And I've led and been a part of many multi-stakeholder award-winning programs, and I've learned so much along the way, and I'm still learning every single day. And that's one of the exciting things about this profession, and something that I believe in personally and wholeheartedly, that you should continue to learn and grow and challenge yourself throughout your career. And that's one of the main reasons why I've also decided to pursue my MBA, which I'm currently working on part-time through Wilfrid Laurier University, to continue to expand my business knowledge and grow my network. So that's me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Hannah. I got to remember to unmute myself. So next we'll have Elizabeth Edwards. If Elizabeth could give a brief introduction.
Thank you. So my name is Elizabeth Edwards. I'm currently working for the City of Quinte West as the Economic Development Officer. So I've unofficially been working in economic development for roughly about 5 years. I graduated from Loyalist College and took the public relations program, and that's where I determined that one of my biggest aspirations was really to build communities in whatever way that looked like. So my entry to the workforce originally was a business resource coordinator in Port Hope, and my role was to support entrepreneurs directly with building and expanding their businesses. This role transitioned into an economic development position, allowing me to work with programming such as community improvement plans, filming, digital Main Street, and I also was able to support them in building the economic development strategy that they've just released. So I've been able to access many different funding opportunities and being able to be a part of those projects, whether it was RED, Ontario Trillium funding, or Eastern Ontario Development Fund. These have all been very exciting projects to be a part of. As I mentioned, I'm now working in Quinte West and continuing to add to my portfolio with workforce and investment attraction activities. So I'm very excited to continue to grow my experience in economic development, as well as potentially add to EDCO's Eastern Ontario representation. Thanks.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So next we have Meredith Forget.
Hi, everybody. I feel like Elizabeth did the perfect introduction, as my career started in Quinte West. So Meredith Forget, I'm currently the Manager of Economic Development and Tourism for Perth County, and I've been here for about 7 years. My career in economic development did happen by chance. After graduating university, I took a postgraduate human resource management program at Georgian College. From there, I started working in the HR department at Blue Mountain Resorts, and then took a management position at the Batawa Ski Hill, which is a small residential community that has a ski hill within the municipality of the City of Quinte West. While rebuilding a local ski area, I worked closely with the municipality. Linda Lyle, I see that you're on there. Hello, lady. When the municipality was hiring an economic development officer position, I jumped on that opportunity. While in Eastern Ontario, I worked on several downtown revitalization, business retention and expansion, recreation, and I even ran the local municipal golf course. From there, I moved on to Aurelia and then on to Grey County. While in Grey County, I worked on several regional projects and developed the first economic development strategic plan. I thought Grey County was where I would spend the majority of my career. I had the best of both worlds. Skiing was my passion in my own backyard, and I got to work with amazing tourism operators and manufacturers, helping them build their capacity. While in Grey County, I downloaded a dating app and I swiped right, went on a blind date with a high school teacher from Waterloo, fell in love, got married, and started my job search for employment in the Waterloo area. Fast forward 4 months later, I then started my position in Perth County, and my husband and I moved to Stratford, where us and our 2 children call home. So since arriving in Perth County, I've slowly grown the department from 1 EDO to a department of 5. Economic development, tourism, and our regional transportation program are all under my umbrella. My participation and engagement with EDCO began long before my position on the board. I spent several years on the conference planning committee and the government relations committee. And then when elected on the board, I then became the chair of the government relations committee. And now I'm the chair of the annual conference committee. So I've come full circle. I've really enjoyed my time on the board, and I do feel that I've brought a well-rounded approach to economic development while keeping my rural roots. And I look forward to serving another term on the board should I be reelected. Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith. Next up, we have Vito Grammatico.
Thank you. So I'm Vito. I'm from the city of Windsor, and I'm currently a senior economic development officer. I've worked for the city of Windsor for about 10 years, and I actually started as a caseworker for Ontario Works. I was in social services for a number of years when I first got out of university with my first undergraduate degree, and just kind of found myself tied into other departments. And I'm like, oh, I really like kind of being involved with different workings in different departments like planning and building. And I just kind of found myself into economic development. And a few years ago, I was able to join EDCO and attend the at the time it was virtual during COVID, but the conferences, and found myself joining the conference planning committee, which I really enjoyed last year, and was able to do one of the sessions with actually CPAS here and also Stephen Morris, hot topic tables, which was a really interesting, really interactive session that I really enjoyed and kind of got me more involved. So like I said, currently I'm in the role of senior economic development officer here, involved with a lot of business attraction, retention, and also actually we're working on a lot of talent attraction, retention strategies as well. So, which is really interesting and kind of uncharted territory. So we're really excited to jump into that too. And, in terms of the board here, just really excited about this opportunity, and my fellow candidates here are just really great. Just great to be a part of the group here, really. So thank you very much for having me here, and I look forward to answering some of these questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Vito. And so next up we have Noor Mazloum.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. So I'm Noor. I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager at Kingston Economic Development, and a current board member who's seeking re-election. So I've lived in Kingston for just over 9 years. It's a beautiful, diverse community, and it nurtured my love for communications and marketing and community engagement. I'd say I'm an individual that thrives in creating connections. I'm dedicated to fostering inclusive spaces and crafting innovative marketing strategy and ways to get the community more engaged. So my path to economic development has been an exciting one. I went to Queen's University to get my Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy and Political Studies with a certificate of Sexual and Gender Diversity. I always thought I'd become a lawyer, but here I am in economic development 5 years after I graduated. So this academic background, helped me have a holistic approach when it comes to problem solving and ethical leadership, and my profound love for growing my community. Professionally, I've had the privilege of working here at Kingston Economic Development for the last, I'd say, about 5 years. I started as a communications assistant and moved my way up to marketing manager, which is my role today. And in this role, over the last couple of years, I've led brand alignment strategies, executed campaigns, and established critical relationships that help the Kingston region grow. And I'm also a part-time instructor at St. Lawrence College, where I mentor and coach students and help them further their marketing careers. So my commitment goes beyond just my professional life. I've always been actively involved in various community initiatives, which I think we'll go more in depth with later. I'm also the chair of the Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Committee here at EDCO, and I've been the chair since 2021. So that's like prior to my election in 2022. And yeah, I think that sums up my career.
Thank you, Nor. So next, we're going to move on to Tyson McMahon.
Thanks, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Tyson McMahon. So currently I am the business development consultant for the agri-food and food and beverage processing sector for the city of Hamilton. So as like many else on this call and looking to seek the board nomination, I fell into economic development or stumbled into the field right out of university. So I went to University of Windsor for my undergraduate in international relations and development studies with a focus on economics. That took me to a Master of Arts in Political Science at Windsor University, which the stumbling upon into ECDev was a result of me choosing the internship option for my master's. So I decided to work for the town of Amherstburg, which was just about 40 minutes south of Windsor. And that started my career for economic development. So I took that internship, turned it into a full-time economic and policy analyst role with the town. From there, I ended up moving north along the 401 to actually in Hamilton, working for MDB Insight, which was formerly Miller Dickinson Blade, which is now part of Deloitte. So that is a private consulting firm, which provided me with a lot of exposure and experience when it comes to strategic writing and sector development and all the things that would prove useful for my next career turn, which ended up working at the city of Guelph. So started off as an analyst, turned that into the economic development officer for investment attraction real estate. So prior to leaving the city of Guelph, I was responsible for investment attraction as well as selling land in the Hanley Creek Business Park in the city of Guelph. From there, moved on to the city of Hamilton. So I've been there for about 2 years, where I'm responsible for the business retention and expansion program for the food and beverage as well as the agricultural sector. So it's given 70-80% of Hamilton's land area is rural, there's a significant amount of, I would say, focus on the agricultural community along with food and beverage. So in my time there, I've been here for about 2 years. And since then, even this past year, supported about 16 projects that produced about over 600 either new or retained employees, and then roughly about $150 million in building permit expansions and new investments. So benefit of being here is there's been a lot of activity that I've helped support, and I'm hopeful that that will continue here in the city moving forward. So really, for me personally, I still live in the city of Guelph. I live right downtown and have no intentions of leaving, even though I do work for the city and love Hamilton. I enjoy really living in the city of Guelph. So I'm living here with my partner, Miquela, and we have one cat that you may have the fortune of seeing on this call. Her name is Patricia. So that's a bit of me in a nutshell in terms of how I got to where I am, what I do at the city, and really I want to be on the EDCO board because I think there's a lot of great work that we do. I also think there's a lot of great work that we could be doing from an advocacy perspective, as well as really trying to drive research and development as to why we do the work we do and how can we push the boundaries for our organization in terms of developing research and materials that can help us in our advocacy for the occupation. And that's me.
Thank you, Tyson. So we got 2 more candidates. The second last is Cephas Panchow.
Excuse me. Hello, everybody, and good afternoon. It's good to see you all today, including many familiar faces. My name is Cephas, and I'm the Development Commissioner for the town of Tillsonburg. I've been here now for over 15 years, so I feel a little bit like I'm the old guy in the room here. But it's been a great run, and I always say this about smaller communities. Certainly, the joy of a smaller community is that you get to do everything. And of course, the cross of a smaller community is that, well, you get to do everything. So it's been a lot of fun here in Tillsonburg. And in terms of my background, I have been in the economic development field for probably about 20 years now. So I did have the fortune actually of starting with the Southwestern Ontario Marketing Alliance, which is a regional marketing association of communities between London and Kitchener area. And certainly since the start of my career, I've had a chance to work in these regional organizations. So it's been a desire of mine for some time now to work for, or not work, but I guess work for free for the EDCO board and just take on that higher perspective. So prior to that, as I mentioned, I started with Southwestern Ontario Marketing Alliance, did the pleasure and good fortune of working in the city of Barrie as well for about 6 years and had a good time up there. And I said when I left there, I'll never have a better view than when I worked there, because we had the 9th floor, I think, and we looked over the lake. So it was a great view. I've been down here in Southwestern Ontario and for quite a while now. And of course, I do love this area too. I've been involved in a number of organizations as well. I know that's a little bit of the next question as well, but certainly with the South Central Ontario region, I've been a member of that forming of that organization back in 2007 to 10, and then serving continuously in different positions with the Resource Advisory Committee for that group as well. So yeah, in general, yeah, just looking to, I guess that's my background. I did do the Masters of Economic Development. It was called something different as well a little while back. So certainly have that background to serve me potentially in this position, should I be so fortunate. So thank you.
Thank you, Cephas. And so last is Emmanuel Ray.
Hello, folks. Last but not least, my name is Emmanuel Ray. I am an economic development officer with the City of Ottawa. Thank you for joining this session today, and thank you to EDCO for hosting and for the opportunity to connect with members. Bonjour aux membres francophones et francophiles. Mon nom, c'est Emmanuel Ray, un agent de développement économique avec la Ville d'Ottawa. As a newcomer to Canada in my youth, I grew up on a small farm east of Guelph. So interesting, we've got a few Guelph connections here. Although it's been many years since I immigrated from France, I'm proud to live in Canada and Ontario. During the pandemic, I had the opportunity to join the City of Ottawa's economic development team, and with my family, including 2 children, our dog, who is a husky, loves winter. We moved to summer of 2021 from Toronto to Ottawa. We love Ottawa, Eastern Ontario, and being fluently bilingual, our proximity to family in Quebec as well. Apart from haying and mucking horse stables, one of my first jobs was in construction many years ago. I loved it, but decided that winter construction was not for me. But I learned a lot during those years. While attending university, I worked part-time, and upon graduating, started a career in the tourism sector, specifically in sales, marketing, and operations for several hotel groups in the GTA. Subsequently in marketing and sales also for American Express and their leisure travel division. Following 9/11 and SARS, again, some of you may remember those pandemics and events. I launched several businesses, including small business consultancy that supported green and environmentally conscious businesses, while also transitioning to George Brown College as a faculty member with their School of Hospitality and Tourism. More recently, I spent several years as a consultant with a provincial workforce development organization called OTEC. Some of you have probably worked with them. Great organization supporting the tourism sector. During that time, I learned a little bit more about economic development, thinking to myself, why did I not learn more about economic development as a career? So as some of you have pointed out in this call, it's not something we all learn about, but I fell into it and loved it. I pursued an EDAC certification through the University of Waterloo and met many of you on today's call. Prior to joining the City of Ottawa, I worked with Société Économique de l'Ontario, which is a francophone economic development organization that supports small business development, community development, and immigration across Ontario's francophone communities. In closing, it would be a pleasure to bring my multi-sector and prior board experience to EDCO to support the important work that we all across of us together undertake across the province to support our local, provincial, and national economies. Again, thank you for the opportunity. Look forward to working with you. And merci pour cette opportunité. J'ai hâte de collaborer avec vous.
Thank you very much, Emmanuel. So we're going to start a Q&A period, which we will have each of the nominees will answer the questions. They'll have a maximum of 2 minutes for each answer. Each question is going to be individual orders will be changed. They're being chosen at random. To the nominees, we're running a little bit long already. So Stephanie is going to be the tough man in the room. She's going to keep you to your timing. She will give you a 30-second warning, and at the 2 minutes, she's going to cut you off. So the first question is, what are some of your prior board leadership experiences? And we're going to start first with Noor.
Okay, so I've had the privilege of serving on various boards and organizations over the last 10 years, but I do currently serve on the EDCO board as a director and as well as the chair of the DEI committee. And in that capacity, I have led efforts to promote inclusivity and foster partnership and drive positive change within the organization, or at least I hope you all think that as well. I've also served as a director on the Sexual Assault Center Kingston, also known as SAC Kingston if you're from the region. It is an important organization dedicated to supporting survivors of domestic violence. In that role, I contributed to strategic planning, governance, for fundraising, and I was also the chair of their policy committee during my tenure there, and where we have changed the policies to serve all survivors regardless of their gender, because the policies prior to that, the center was only open for women. I was also on the Sustainable Kingston board, like the inaugural time of Sustainable Kingston. So that was many years ago. I've held the position of secretary of the board as well as director, and I actively participated in an initiative trying to get that organization up and running. So a lot of fundraising that came with that. And I hope my, board leadership experience, allowed me to bring some of the things back to the board over the last 2 years.
30 seconds.
And I hope I can bring more in the next 2 years if elected. Thank you.
Thank you, Noor. I told you Stephanie was going to be tough. Next up is Tyson McMahon.
Great, thanks, Rob. And I'll, in the time that we have. So currently, I currently sit on the Industry Advisory Council, Industry Advisory Committee for the Food and Beverage Innovation Center at Niagara College. So that's a long-standing partnership that we at the City of Hamilton have had. I've also sit on the advisory committee for the Energy and Power Innovation Center at Mohawk College. So that's really helping businesses address energy and power issues. And my goal specifically is in the food and beverage sector. I also recently got added to the Careers Now Advisory Council for Food and Beverage Ontario. So again, that's really directed at bringing new job seekers, increasing the awareness of the job or the industry to new job seekers, as well as supporting employers find employees in the sector. I was a past member of the EDCO Awards Committee, currently was a past member of the Bright Ideas Committee. I'm currently the co-chair of the Bright Ideas Committee for EDCO. And I'll end on, I'm currently a board member for the Yorklands Green Hub in Guelph. So that is a nonprofit organization that is looking at turning the the past Ontario reformatory jail lands that sit in Guelph into essentially an environmental sustainability and education hub. So very similar to what the Evergreen Brickworks is doing in Toronto.
30 seconds.
We're looking to do the same in Guelph. And on top of that, sit on the advisory committee as the board member, as well as we are a member of trying to turn that land into a national urban park for Guelph. So a handful of committees sitting on and currently a board of directors as well. Thanks, Stephanie.
Thank you, Tyson. Next, we will turn to Cephas.
Thanks. In terms of boards and committees I've been part of, certainly the Southwestern Ontario Marketing Alliance has been one of the most long-standing, and so I currently serve as part of the executive team there, so as secretary of the board. And as we all know, minutes are a very important thing, so I take pride in doing them well and getting them done out on time. I've been a member of, as I mentioned, South Central Ontario region and continue to be supportive of that organization, as well as various workforce committees. In terms of my personal life, I'm also been a member of the Alliance Church Board of Directors and served there in kind of in increasing positions as well. So from secretary to or treasurer to secretary to chair of the board. The last time I was part of that board. And also, I guess, in a number of other areas, a number of other local committees as well. So really my experience is broad, but I think at the end of the day, what's important with all that experience is to be able to contribute. When you join a board, of course, you're working now for that board. So bringing that experience to bear to help guide the organization you're with, I think is important. And certainly that's something that I've shown value in the past in creating.
Thank you, Cephas. So next up, we will have Emmanuel.
All right. Alors, j'ai plusieurs expériences en servant comme exécutif sur plusieurs conseils administratifs. Throughout my career, I've held several board leadership positions. One of those first experiences was during my hotel career. I was a board leader for several years with the Canadian Hotel Marketing and Sales Executive Association, during which I held several positions, including fundraising director and vice president. During my time with George Brown College, I served on various committees, including special events and health and well-being committees. While my kids were attending elementary school, I was part of the Conseil Scolaire Catholique de Mont-Avenir, which is the school board, Catholic school board from Niagara to Peterborough, down to Toronto, up to Georgian Bay. I held several years on the council for Saint-Marie-de-Youville, also in leadership roles, including director and vice president. Most recently here in Ottawa, I sat on our union's scholarship committee and United Way committee campaign. Experience is certainly very broad, although I'm not currently on any committees, so would be able to devote my time, my volunteer time exclusively to EDCO.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Next up, we have Hannah.
Thank you. After graduating university, I participated in a Young Leaders on Board program and served on the board of Habitat for Humanity for several years. So that was a passion project of mine. I was primarily involved with community events and running the social media accounts. I also currently volunteer. I'm not on the board, but am quite active with the YMCA of Simcoe Muskoka. I assist them with grant applications. We've submitted 6 applications this year. The more money we can get, the better for the community. And additionally, I also have a lot of experience on various committees, leading various committees. A couple examples is we have one focused on manufacturing here in the region, as well as one focused on workforce initiatives. So I think I'll be able to apply those skills in communication and project management and stakeholder engagement to a board position with EDCO if I was elected. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Next, we have Elizabeth.
So I have had the pleasure of supporting the Northumberland Fair Share Food Bank Board of Directors in a volunteer capacity. While working with this board, I helped them access approximately $150,000 of Ontario Trillium funding dollars to support building a donor and volunteer retention strategy. I am a member of internally our Industrial Land Strategy Subcommittee, the Farmers Market Subcommittee, the Economic Development, Tourism and Special Events Committee, the Quinte Region Film Development Working Group, and various others in a staff capacity. I was given the opportunity to participate in board governance training a few years ago through the United Way. So I do have some standard background information of how to participate ethically in a board and support development in that way. At this time, I do not have any formal elected board member experience, but I am very enthusiastic to gain some. Thanks.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Next up, we have Meredith.
So currently I do sit on the EDCO board and I'm the chair of the conference event committee. I'm also a director with CFIS on the Southwestern Ontario Marketing Alliance, better known in the economic development field as SOMA. As workforce development is really important to economic development, I managed to secure a spot on our local technical training group board of directors. The TTG is a not-for-profit organization that provides apprenticeship training for welders and metal fabricators in our region for upskilling. In addition to this type of training, TTG also offers tuition-free pre-apprenticeship training for welding and metal fabrication for those who are unemployed, underemployed, and underrepresented. This organization is really critical in our local region. As you know, our manufacturing sector is struggling, and our organization helps local people obtain full-time, well-paying careers in manufacturing. For the past 6 years, I have encouraged and promoted TTG and SOMA as great organizations, and I've helped push them to TTG in particular to grow and have additional locations throughout Perth County and now most recently into Huron County.
Thank you, Meredith. And Vito, you're next.
Thank you. So yeah, early in my career, I actually worked at a local organization called the Inn of Windsor that helped youth with career development and life stabilization. So when I worked there, I was a youth counselor for several years and worked closely with the board. And years later, I actually was able to return to that organization and officially be on that board, which was just a really great experience. And I found everyone was just so passionate at the table, and their belief in the organization really just helped me appreciate the importance of competent board governance. So I learned a lot from my fellow directors on that board. Everyone had the organization's values at the forefront, and I found our discussions to be thoughtful and respectful of like what the organization was trying to accomplish. The organization was a non-for-profit, so it really relied on advocacy and fundraising, and so having a board that actually cared about its success and was critical to its ongoing existence, really. This experience is also something that I've carried over into my career as well. So a few years ago, I was actually able to after I finished on that board, take a course at my local university during my MBA. And it was basically on effective board governance. And that really, with that past experience, really helped me appreciate the importance of a seat at a board and how important it is to have the best interests of the organization at the forefront. So, taking that course was, just a great way of kind of rounding out my experience as well. In addition, I've served on previous committees as well, including the conference planning committee and stakeholder committee for EDCO. And with that experience, I really was able to learn a lot of from other great directors, I guess, and that prepared me for this great opportunity as well. I just really appreciate being here today, and looking forward to the process here. So thank you.
Thank you, Vito, and to all the other candidates. So our second question today is, why do you want to be on this board? And we're going to start out. Oh, Vito, you get to go up again, so you shouldn't have unmiked yourself. Vito, are you prepared to take on the second question? Why do you want to be on this board?
Yes, and sorry if I get interrupted. I got a new puppy, and he's being a little bit acting up a bit. But yes, so and this was for being on the board. Is that correct?
Yes. Why do you want to be on this board?
Okay. Yeah. So my involvement with EDCO's conference planning committee has given me just great appreciation for EDCO and the contribution it makes to the community. So through my role, I've witnessed firsthand the dedication and passion that EDCO exhibits in advancing economic development across Ontario. So the commitment to learning, networking, and sharing best practices just really inspires me to continue to contribute to this organization and make sure that it thrives. The EDCO annual conference has been my favorite conference to attend. It's not just a gathering of professionals, it's an immersive experience that really helps me grow and just network with my fellow ECDev professionals. Gain valuable insights from it over the last couple of years, and really just being on the board will allow me to help kind of continue to benefit from the conference, but also just ensure that actively contribute to its success and the success of EDCO as a whole. So I want to help be able to shape the future of EDCO, ensure that it continues to be a beacon of just excellence, really, which I consider it to be. And I'm just eager to bring my experience, my insights, and dedication to the board, and work with my fellow board members to steer EDCO towards achieving its mission of enhancing and developing a viable and sustainable Ontario. So again, I guess my desire to join EDCO is really driven by my respect for the organization, my positive experiences with it, and the annual conference in particular, and just a strong commitment to just making a meaningful impact in the economic development field. And I believe by being on this board, I can actively contribute to the continued growth and success of EDCO, and just strengthen its position as just a leading force in Ontario, really.
Thank you, Vito. Next up, we have Meredith. And can I just remind people to turn your mics off if you are not speaking? Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. So a couple of reasons why I want to be on the board. It's a really great organization, and it's full of a lot of amazing people. I'm also really passionate about economic development, workforce attraction, retention, and community growth. Economic development is the #1 priority for all municipalities across the country, and if it isn't, it should be. And I think that we need to continue to advocate for resources from our provincial and federal partners for more support in our profession. As the conduit between business, municipal, provincial, and federal partners, I want to continue to promote and elevate EDCO as a relevant organization and encourage all municipalities to become members and participate in the numerous programs and events and our organization offers. Most recently, I've applied to be on the conference event committee for the Ontario Municipal Administrators Association. This move was to ensure that economic development was a priority during the municipal administrators' professional development sessions at their most recent conference. So I will continuing to stay on that committee to push economic development as a #1 priority for municipalities across the province.
Thank you, Meredith. And so next up for our second question is Emmanuel.
Great. Je soutiens la vision d'EDCO comme membre du conseil. Je m'appuierai moi-même et nos membres pour soutenir cette vision. I support EDCO's vision to enhance and develop an economically viable and environmentally responsible Ontario. I believe Ontario is one of the best places in the world to live, work, play, visit, and invest. Our province and communities can grow and prosper in an environmentally responsible way. I myself was an early adopter of electric cars and am lucky enough here in Ottawa to be able to use active transportation here, often biking to work. I encourage diversity, equity, inclusion, and as with EDCO, believe that diversity is part of what builds and enhances our community's viability and vibrancy. Looking at EDCO's geography, it looks as though Eastern Ontario is a bit underrepresented, although that includes Ottawa, which as a municipality is currently not a member. I'm certainly hoping to change that. One of the province's largest municipalities. As part of that, in joining the board, one of my goals is that Ottawa join EDCO as a municipal member, and so that elected officials are better able to understand the importance of economic development. I would also love to see Ottawa collaborating further with our neighboring municipalities and other Ontario communities. Certainly, we have a lot to share. And in addition, I also bring professional board experience from multiple sectors, including important sectors that may also be underrepresented, such as small business and tourism.
Thank you, Emmanuel. So next up, we have Hannah.
Thank you, Rob. Similarly, I've had the opportunity to participate on a couple different EDCO committees over the years, and I've really enjoyed that experience and participating in EDCO initiatives. Certainly see the value in connecting and collaborating across boundaries. And, many of us are working on common challenges and opportunities within our municipalities. Just one example, after one EDCO conference, I started monthly coffee chats with another EDO that also does a lot of work in the manufacturing sector. And that's continued for years and really shaped the work that we've both undertaken, all thanks to EDCO. But there's really two reasons why I'm super excited about the opportunity to be on the board. One is to share what I have learned. So I want to contribute what I've learned to EDCO, to the profession, and be involved with shaping programs. I want to encourage more young professionals or professionals of all ages to get involved with the profession. I mean, it's super interesting hearing everybody's career pathways. I think it's not a linear pathway for any of us. So maybe there's a campaign or an idea right there, because I think there's a lack of awareness about this profession within the province. And secondly, I want to continue to gain experience and grow my skills so that, continuous learning and growth that I mentioned in my introduction, it's in my DNA. And I want to, keep becoming a better professional and a better person, and just look forward to the opportunity to learn from other leaders in the profession like all of you. And you really can learn so much by, getting involved and asking questions and challenging yourself. Thank you.
Apologies for that. I sort of lost you for a second. So next up, we have Cephas. Cephas, could you?
Yes, thank you. in wanting to join this board, I actually was I have been part of the conference committee as well over the last number of years. Actually, since the start of the pandemic, I kind of joined or volunteered before the pandemic started, and then ended up being on the first conference committee, or the conference committee for the first pandemic conference. But really, it's been on my mind probably to join the board probably since about 10 years ago, and just got busy with the local grind, if you will, working locally and making my community better. And so after having worked on the conference committee, it wasn't my intention when I started working on that committee to actually join the board. But after working on that conference committee for a number of years, I realized, you know what, I do want to join the board. And thinking about that, I was trying to think about the question over the weekend, and really what made me want to join the board, I think, is being part of something bigger. In all my roles in my career to date, I've been part of that regional organization, wherever it may be, and whether it's workforce or, as I mentioned, some of these investment organizations. And so this is kind of the next step, I guess. This is a role that's bigger than me. It's a role that's bigger than Tillsonburg. And so I want to be part of something bigger. And I think that's something we all desire, right? We want to contribute, we want to give back. And I have constantly stated this organization and this conference is the conference itself is the best in my mind, as Vito said earlier. So I want to support the conference, and now I want to support the organization in doing better as well. So the other thing I would like to do to be on the board, I think that there is, and one of the nominees actually mentioned that as well.
30 seconds.
Sometimes there's not a lot of participation by the bigger municipalities, and I'm trying to understand why that is. Well, I can represent a small urban area in southwestern Ontario. I think we should try to bring in some of the bigger cities as well to contribute to this organization. So that's why I want to be on the board.
Thank you, Cephas. Next up, we have Tyson.
Thanks, Rob. And reason why I want to be on this board is I think twofold. I'm really passionate about economic development as a field. I think it's one of the more holistic professions in municipal, provincial, or any level of government, or as an outside agency when it comes to community and economic development. And I think EDCO, I'm really passionate about EDCO as an organization being that leading voice for us here in Ontario. I think there's been some really great programming and initiatives that EDCO has done, even most recently with the My Main Street program during COVID, right? I think that was a testament to the fact that EDCO could and can be an organization moving forward that is leading programming and initiatives. I also think there's a lot of room for increasing our advocacy. As Meredith mentioned, there's some great advocacy that we do through Queen's Park Day as well. And I think it's an opportunity to raise the profile of the profession. I think sometimes as an economic developer, we're included when there's an announcement or when there's a problem. But in between, we're usually not at the top of the list when it comes to talking with other departments or politicians, right? It's usually at those critical junction points that we get kind of pulled into the conversation where I think there's a lot of other value that we add, whether it's working with planning and building departments, conservation authorities. There's a lot of work and knowledge that we have as a profession that I think is underutilized at council level, at senior leadership level, and ultimately to Cephas' point, it's an organization that has provided me with a lot of resources and capacity as I grew up essentially in this profession, and it's something I am really passionate about giving back to and ensuring that economic developers have an organization that raises their voice moving forward.
Thank you, Tyson. Elizabeth.
Thank you. So EDCO has played a key role in my transition into the economic development sector through my first introduction to the organization, which was actually by Mr. Tom Dodds, who was previously the Director of Community Development for the municipality of Port Hope. Since then, I've been taking absolutely every opportunity to participate in events such as the conference and the networking opportunities, training and opportunities facilitated through EDCO. I'm currently in the process of earning my economic development accreditation, and EDCO has been key to those professional development activities. I've progressed in my career because of EDCO, and I would love the opportunity to continue to grow, as well as to give my time and give back in support of EDCO, doing this for others who are coming up in the economic development sector as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So, Noor.
Thank you, Rob. I want to join the board. Well, simply, I do love EDCO and I love the programs that come out of EDCO. So I've been part of a lot of them, but some come to mind. The mentorship program has helped me a lot and helped me evolve my career very early on when I joined economic development. And I've also served on multiple committees. So I'm seeking re-election to the EDCO board with a commitment to continue the impactful work that we have started 2 years and to continue to represent the Kingston region as well as Eastern Ontario at EDCO. And I simply just love our profession very much. During my time at EDCO, we have made substantial progress in promoting DEI within the economic development landscape. However, there are still very important initiatives that require further development, and I really want to see those initiatives come to fruition, before hanging the hat, because it still remains a commitment for EDCO as well as myself. So having served for about 2 years now, I've developed a very deep understanding of how the organization operates and its goals. And I feel very well positioned to further on bring my experience and knowledge, especially my passion for community engagement, and translate that into membership engagement, because I'd love to get the members more engaged with EDCO. And I'm excited for the opportunity as we embark on this journey together in advancing our profession.
Thank you, Noor. So our third question is a big one, so I'm going to ask all the candidates to keep your answers concise. So what makes EDCO's purpose and mission meaningful to you, and how will your values align with EDCO's shared values? And to start us off, we have Elizabeth.
Thank you. So at its core, EDCO is about developing community. So the community includes the EDCO member base, the economic development profession as a whole, and economic development activities across the province. I personally put building community at the forefront of everything I do, personally and professionally, whether it's supporting local nonprofits, using my grant writing skills, or facilitating workforce development programming such as Work in Quinte and the annual career fairs. So building stronger and empowered communities is a mission that EDCO and I both share. I believe that leading with a community focus will help the membership, the primary focus, and ensure that EDCO continues to be a leading economic development organization across Ontario and Canada. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And next up for this question, we have Hannah.
Thank you. When I think about, EDCO's mission as far as member capacity, advancing the profession, supporting economic growth, the mission to me, and this relates to what, Cephas was just talking about as well, is, it's not about one community. It's about, all the communities in the province. And I certainly see the value of sharing ideas and working together across boundaries and across organizations. And I think a lot of this great work is done already, but there's always room to push the limit. And, we've all experienced a great deal of change across the province in the past few years. Things are not always easy. And, there's certainly value in coming together to think outside the box. I know personally, I'm the kind of person that tries to think of 5 ways that it could be done instead of 1 way that it couldn't. Although there is certainly value in considering barriers when it comes to developing new initiatives or implementing programs, I think the way that you approach it is really important. And the best projects that I have been involved with, hands down, always involve a lot of different partners, a lot of different perspectives. And it's not about being the smartest person in the room, but bringing together dedicated people who are all driven to achieve an outcome. And this certainly relates to a lot of the work that I do in the county with 18 different municipalities, but the opportunity to do this on a larger scale province-wide is super exciting to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Tyson, you're up next.
Thanks, Rob. And I'd say essentially the vision, and I think others have spoken to it, of developing economical viable communities, right? I think that's at the heart of what we all do every day, or at least strive to at some point push the needle on. How is my community developing developing positively and providing opportunities for both business and employers, right? So in my job day to day, that's the key role for me is business retention and expansion, and I think that's the core of, I think, this organization and how it supports its members. Are we providing the right resources, education, training, even research to support us as EDOs in the field to ensure that we are providing the best advice or direction when it comes to developing sustainable communities? Long gone are the days or the old school way of smokestack chasing where we're bringing in a factory, it brings 100 jobs and our job's done, right? There's a lot more complex work that's involved in increasingly complex development arena that we're facing in. So to me, EDCO as an organization, I think has a lot of work to do, which it's already done, but I think there's a lot of work that can still be done in supporting its members to ensure that we're all working towards ultimately the same goal, and that's ensuring we have communities that can continue to thrive and provide opportunities for its citizen. I think at the end of the day, the vision and values speak to the simple fact that we're all public servants, right? And we're all there working for communities. And I think that is what is the key value that needs to be recognized, is that we're there to serve the public and its institutions. And I'm hopeful and confident that EDCO will continue to do so moving forward as well.
Thank you, Tyson. Meredith?
Thank you, Rob. So I think EDCO's purpose and mission is meaningful to me because it embodies everything that I've spent my career promoting and encouraging everyone to work together and to collaborate. I often say we are in this together. I'm often find myself strengthening member capacity through different advocacy efforts. And I encouraged EDCO to participate in the Queen's Park event 4 years ago. And this event is now an annual event and very well attended. It sells out every year. I'm always looking for ways to advance the profession. Most recently, I've done this through engaging with the Ontario Municipal Administrators Association and also helping EDCO promote the organization and our profession at both the Roma and AMO conferences. I support my fellow partners and colleagues in economic development by sharing materials and best practices without hesitation. And I have a great working relationship with the Western Ontario Wardens Caucus, where economic development staff meet bi-monthly with the 16 members, and we share best practices and resources freely amongst each other.
Thank you, Meredith. Noor.
Thank you, Rob. EDCO's mission resonates with me deeply, and it is one of the reasons why I got involved with EDCO the very start of my career. Like I think a month into my job in economic development, I joined EDCO right away and signed up for various programming through EDCO. Collaboration is a cornerstone of EDCO's mission, and I've witnessed that firsthand and the tremendous impact it has, whether that be within my community or further through the Queen's Park event that thanks to Meredith was created. And with my background in communications, marketing, and community engagement, it has reinforced the value of working collectively to drive positive change and also solving complex problems. EDCO's mission also emphasizes innovation, a quality that I embrace and love, and my professional experience have taught me that innovative thinking and willingness to adapt are very essential to progress. And ever since I've been involved with EDCO, I'd say about 5 years ago, I've seen innovation throughout, whether that be through adapting strategies for a conference and how to grow our programming. And, the board and the members are always open for new ways of doing things, which I absolutely love. And without having read the without having read the mission when I first became an EDCO member, I would have not been involved. And this is something EDCO is something I'm passionate about, and the mission resonates well with me. Thank you.
Thank you, Noor. Vito.
Yeah, so the vision to create like a more economically viable and environmentally responsible Ontario, it's meaningful to me because I firmly believe that economic growth and environmental responsibility kind of go, hand in hand, or they should at least. So it's not only about creating prosperity, but doing so in a way that ensures that the well-being of future generations is also being respected. So this vision kind of reflects my personal commitment to a more sustainable and equitable future, where I guess economic development and environmental stewardship are not at odds, but rather they complement each other. As for EDCO's mission, the 4 pillars are significant to me as well. Strengthening member capacity, I see that as an opportunity to empower and support the economic development community across Ontario. And I'm committed to lifelong learning, and I believe in the power of knowledge. So sharing and networking is important. Strengthening member capacity is not just about professional growth, but it's also about, creating a strong support system, I guess. So, to foster collaboration, and also, that's something I value personally. So looking at in terms of advancing the profession, the dedication to advancing economic development, I think it demonstrates a commitment to excellence and continuous improvement. And that's personally, that aligns with my belief as well, in the importance of staying up to date. And, personally, I remember a few years ago, I went and got my MBA. That was 10 years after I graduated from my undergrad. So I definitely respect the idea of ongoing learning there. In terms of supporting municipalities, I have a really strong belief in the potential of local communities and to drive economic development. So, seeing all the communities involved at EDCO obviously is very meaningful to me. And finally, too, just supporting organizational sustainability, I think that is just reflects a responsible approach to EDCO's own operations, which I consider essential. So I strongly believe any organization should strive for sustainability, not just environmental, but also financial transparency and accountability as well. So thank you.
And next up, we have Cephas.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that EDCO has a strong track record of providing meaningful education networking opportunities. I mean, I love it, as I mentioned already. I think that that's a pretty common theme from all of the nominees here. But that's also part of the mission that speaks to me the most. And I think strengthening member capacity and advancing the profession are key. And I think that when I look at just having been part of the conference planning committee, that we can probably be a little bit more technical in terms of some of the training that we offer. So I want to bring more of that so that our members can be stronger in that regard as well. And of course, I don't think I can change the world, but I do live by the motto, make things better. So I'm just trying to make things a little bit better in my corner of the world, and perhaps as a board member as well, to strengthen the profession. And again, continue to drive value for the members, but also the municipalities that have committed funds to support economic development.
Thank you, Cephas. And Emmanuel.
So for me, all parts of the mission are important. So for strengthening member capacity, certainly I have experience with extensive stakeholder consultations, membership development, for example, marketing, capacity building. As a workforce development professional myself, and having over 10 years of faculty experience and professional development training experience, I bring years of experience to to support this aspect of EDCO's mission. I believe that the better our municipalities and communities are working, the better for all Ontarians and Canadians. Education, community development, small business, and economic development offer a path to prosperity and socio-economic growth. Supporting EDCO's growth and evolution is important for not only economic sustainability and growth, but also to the long-term collaboration between the municipalities across Ontario. Tomorrow, as an example, I'll be participating in Canada's first ever Destination Stewardship International Symposium here in Ottawa-Gatineau, led by Destination Canada, leveraging some of the work, for example, Ottawa Tourism has done recently in launching their extensive 10-year destination master plan. So certainly EDCO, EDCO's values certainly mesh very well with my own personal values, but also opportunity to really help EDCO, work towards a sustainable future.
Thank you. So the next question we're going to have is, so for several years now, EDCO has made a commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. What is your commitment and experience with DEI? And we'll start with Cephas, please.
Thank you. I definitely think that diversity is a preeminent value of the Western free world, and particularly Canada. I mean, we've got a great track record of welcoming the best and the brightest, and not just the best and the brightest, refugees through. Refugees through to, of course, just regular immigrants. But I think that what we can do more is we can celebrate that, right? And so I think we do have a great culture of celebration of diversity, but again, more can be done to do that. And I think we need to recognize different perspectives from across the political spectrum, across the cultural spectrum, and across the occupational, if you will, and workforce spectrum. So again, I think that Canada is diverse. I think we need to celebrate that. We've kind of lost some of that. When I was growing up in high school, multiculturalism was kind of a big celebration. And it feels like we've lost some of that, even though we do have more festivals in that regard. So I think we need to do more of that. And I think we need to make sure, of course, that that we are welcoming those voices. And again, I think EDCO is a great track record I've been part of this board now, or sorry, not part of the board, sorry, part of this organization for over 20 years. And from when I joined this organization to now, I think we very rapidly, for one of the most rare occupations, if you look at the number of ECDev positions in the province, we've seen a rapid diversification of that over the last 20 years. So it's amazing. I think this organization embodies those Canadian values. And I think that we can continue to celebrate diversity and inclusivity in that regard.
Thank you, Cephas. Elizabeth.
So when considering how to engage and improve an organization, empowering and bolstering diverse forces is incredibly important to me. Strong communities are built when everyone feels safe and encouraged to share their experiences and has equal opportunity to do so. I've made a commitment to include diversity, equity, and inclusion training in my professional development plan. At this time, I've completed the Indigenous Canada training through University of Alberta, as well as various different AODA compliance trainings to support me in all of the pieces that I produce, the programs that I develop and facilitate to make sure that diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility are at the forefront of that. And I will continue to learn and ensure that I am applying these learnings to everything that I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Meredith.
I'm committed to getting uncomfortable and asking questions and educating myself and encouraging my team and pushing my organization to do better and be better. When planning events and programs in Perth County, my team is committed to removing barriers and ensure that everyone has the opportunity to participate. Most recently, my team partnered with the Perth County Federation of Agriculture to offer a barrier-free inclusive event, welcoming people from all walks of life and experiences to Perth County to experience our agriculture sector. After the event, we received an email from Najma Jose. She was a participant in the Mystery Farm Hop. She's a newcomer to Canada and a new resident to Perth County. She captured the spirit of the event perfectly, expressing her appreciation for our commitment to inclusivity and the opportunity for residents to connect. She stated, and I quote, "I firmly believe that strong communities are built on the foundations of inclusivity, cultural diversity, and a sense of collective responsibility. Events like the Mystery Farm Hop are a testament to Perth County's dedication to creating spaces where diverse individuals and communities can come together, learn from one another, and form meaningful connections." After the event and that email from Najma, my team and I jumped on the opportunity to meet with her and find more ways that we can ensure that moving forward, we continue to include inclusive programming in our tourism, transportation, and economic development program. As a proud wife of Canadian First Nations Indigenous Ojibwe, I think it's important to remind all of my fellow municipal employees to take part and read the Truth and Reconciliation report. Action number 57 applies directly to us as civil servants. I won't get into it, but it calls upon us to educate ourselves. So I encourage all of my fellow municipal employees to read this document, educate yourself, and create meaningful change within your organization and communities. Thanks.
Thank you, Meredith. Vito.
Yeah, so I firmly believe that DEI should be a top priority for any organization, and I'm fully dedicated to upholding and advancing EDCO's commitment to DEI. If I have the privilege of being on the board here. So throughout my career, I've consistently advocated for and actively engaged in DEI initiatives. I believe that diversity in all its forms is not just important from a moral perspective, but also in terms of strategic advantage. So diverse perspectives bring fresh ideas, they foster innovation, and just lead to better decision making and contributing to a organization's overall success. So I've collaborated with various organizations within my municipality on talent attraction and retention initiatives. And a key aspect of these collaborations have been ensuring that DEI is an integral component of all the activities. I proactively reached out to DEI directors at various organizations to exchange ideas and share best practices, but also build networks that promote inclusivity and equity. I'm committed to champion DEI at every level of an organization, from strategic planning all the way through to policy development to day-to-day operations. So I believe that an organization can only reach its full potential, I guess, if by fostering an environment where everyone, regardless of their background or identity, feels valued and included as well. So if I'm appointed to the board, I'll be a vocal advocate for equity, provide guidance on best practices, and seek out opportunities to enhance DEI awareness and impact within EDCO and its broader community. So overall, my commitment to DEI is, just to
30 seconds.
Passionate about ensuring that EDCO remains a leader in fostering diversity and inclusivity and in the field of economic development. And I look forward to working with the board and its members to advance DEI principles.
Thank you, Vito. Emmanuel.
Oh, can everyone hear me okay? Perfect. I think that's the case. All right. So, sorry here. So my personal commitment towards reconciliation, diversity, and inclusion is steadfast. During my time with OTEC, for example, I won an award for Destination Northern Ontario for an Indigenous workforce development program, which we had developed. I also received a letter from the Ontario Minister of Tourism at that time as well. More recently, I led the development of Ottawa's first ever nightlife economy action plan, and this includes extensive collaboration and support with a broad range of nightlife economy stakeholders and businesses. Currently working towards supporting economic development strategy here at the City of Ottawa and talent retention and attraction. As Cephas mentioned earlier, some of the larger municipalities are not EDCO members. One of my goals is that for the City of Ottawa to join EDCO as a municipal member. Often stakeholders and perhaps EDCO members feel that as larger municipalities, we have larger and unlimited resources, but I say certainly that's not the case. As with many of the smaller and likely all of us on this call today, municipalities, including the City of Ottawa, have limited resources, and our larger municipalities have larger, broader, and more complex problems that impact social and economic prosperity. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are a core priority for the City of Ottawa, which recently launched its first ever community safety and well-being plan. If we work together and municipalities collaborate, I believe that we can all grow and improve our broader provincial and regional economies and our local communities.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Hannah.
Thanks, Rob. I think DEI is certainly proven to make communities and workplaces more productive and more welcoming. I think personally with inclusion, it's centered around ensuring people feel safe, feel a sense of belonging and support from the organization. And that really is a choice every day through your language, through the actions that you undertake, the policies that you implement. And I think for me individually, I've also undertaken some DEI training and just being aware of any biases, being intentional about designing programs. One of my favorite quotes from the training that I participated in is, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. I think inclusion or DEI is an ongoing educational component too. It's not one-off training, so it's something I'm committed to continue to learn and become better at. And from like an EDO work plan perspective, we've implemented several DEI type initiatives as well. Most recently, we've partnered with Georgian College. They have a diversity, equity, and belongingness micro-credential. We'll do a quick plug for them because it's an amazing program, but we've been subsidizing that course for area employers, and it's been super popular. And they get that micro-credential, that digital badge, to help them recruit and retain employees. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Noor.
Thanks, Rob. If you know me, you know I'm the DEI lady, so this is a topic I have a lot to say about. So I believe that DEI is not only a source of strength, but it's a fundamental principle that guides us in our decision making. And I've seen that very evident in EDCO over the last 2 years at least. So as the chair of the DEI committee at EDCO, I have actively led efforts to promote DEI within the organization, and it signifies my dedication to championing inclusivity and having that as a guiding initiative. I believe also my commitment and my work in that space have led me to win the DEI Influencer of the Year award. Just short humble brag there. Building a strong partnership with organizations and stakeholders that share our DEI values have been very important to me. Just last year, I was invited to speak at AMO on behalf of EDCO and share what we have done in the DEI space. My commitment to DEI extends to my personal growth and understanding. I actively seek training and opportunities to continue learning in that space. I also believe through the power of mentorship and empowerment, and I'm dedicated to creating safe spaces for people from underrepresented groups. This year, in Kingston, I've launched the Kingston Young Professionals Network, as well as the Kingston 40 Under 40 Awards, which have attracted over 300 people. And this came about because people say Kingston is not a very inclusive space for young people. So I made sure young people felt included. Thank you.
Thank you, Noor. And Tyson.
Thanks, Rob. Well, I think diversity, equity, inclusion, I think, although we do have a separate commitment to it as part of EDCO, I think it is part of EDCO's mission, right? I think at the end of the day, our mission is to develop economically sustainable communities in Ontario. To me, that's all communities, all people. And to me, I would approach it in maybe two ways of how I would look to push DEI at the board and at an organizational level. First, if not already, I would look to see if DEI mandatory training for the board would be a thing. If it already exists, looking to expand that into multiple areas as well. I think as a membership, I think we can look at having either dedicated training or as part of membership training for DEI, right? I think especially with this week being Treaty Recognition Week, there's a lot of work that can be done in our relationship building with Indigenous communities as well as other underserved communities. Beyond training, I think a core priority that I would bring as a whole, not just for DEI, but I think for EDCO as well, is research and advocacy. I think there's a lot of work that we can do from a capacity building standpoint of developing research and understanding how do economic development programs, events impact underserved communities. And a good example is that when I worked at the City of Guelph, I worked with public health and the Guelph Community Foundation to look at the impacts of COVID-19 on underrepresented communities. I think the more data and research we know as to how communities are impacted by policies and programs, the better we are able to advocate. And I think EDCO needs its people to be representative of its communities, but also its programs and policies need to be representative of communities as well.
Thank you, everyone. We've got our last question of the afternoon is to each of the candidates. As a board member, how do you see yourself supporting EDCO's mission? And we're going to start off with Emmanuel.
Certainly. So in support of EDCO's mission, j'aimerais soutenir la mission d'EDCO et du développement économique du développement durable. While completing the University of Waterloo's ED certification, I joined EDCO to learn more about economic development across the province and quickly learned about the many great programs and initiatives underway across the province. I regularly joined EDCO's coffee chat sessions, and several years ago, I took part in EDCO's Bright Ideas program, developed with economic development colleagues across the province, a study on a report on growing Ontario's economic growth and innovation ecosystem. Merci pour cette belle opportunité de soutenir les programmes et les membres d'EDCO. Thank you again for the opportunity to contribute further to EDCO's work in support of communities across Ontario.
Thank you, Emmanuel. Tyson.
Thanks, Rob. To me, in terms of supporting the mission, I know in terms of my skill sets is really, I think a key skill set that I can bring, and something I spoke to in an earlier question, is around data analysis and research, right? I think there's a key opportunity for us as an organization to be a leading voice when it comes to whether it's economic programs, funding, or events that happen, right? I think to me, for EDCO to be able to be interviewed by Global News or CTV when something happens when it comes to economic development, to me, I see EDCO being able to operate in that capacity where we are the voice when it comes to economic development activity, right? So in that capacity, I can, on a board, most of my career has been data analysis and research, so I can definitely help support increasing the capacity building when it comes to research and development. And I see that being able to be something that we can look at. I know that will come with new resources and probably individuals, but I think as EDCO, as an organization, I'm able to dedicate my research and data analysis skill set to supporting kind of a research center within EDCO, if you will, right? I think of the great work we're doing with the EDCO Bright Ideas Committee of trying to develop research and toolkits that EDOs can use in their communities. I would like us to see build on that and really create a resource library that we can start to utilize, not just as an organization, but as individual municipalities. So data research and analysis, as well as organizational capacity experience, right? Working on previous boards and committees, I can help when it comes to just ensuring that we have the right organizational capacity to achieve our vision and mission.
Thank you, Tyson. Cephas.
Thanks, Rob. From my perspective, and I've already alluded to some of this already, is that I think that EDCO needs to continue to provide increased training and education for its members. In an increasingly complex world, I think we need members whose tools are the sharpest in the drawer. So I think we should strive as an organization to have some of the best and in-depth training opportunities. And I think that that's what I would support. And I did want to make one other point as well. And in the interest of repeating cliches, I think that we need to make things better, right? So make things incrementally better so that our members are stronger and better off. Thank you.
Thank you, Cephas. Elizabeth.
So I believe that communication and engagement are key to supporting a healthy membership and opportunities for individuals to grow, which EDCO has been instrumental in doing for myself and many others that I've connected with regularly due to EDCO. I would be happy to lend my skills in communication and program development and delivery to EDCO to support the organization in achieving their mission. I'm also a strong team player and will take any opportunity to participate where needed to support organizational sustainability and improve membership acquisition and retention. I'm a strong proponent of evidence-based decision-making and would love to use my learned skills and engagement and data analysis to support new strategies for the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Noor.
Thank you, Rob. I envision supporting EDCO's mission in various ways. I will continue to provide strong leadership and guidance in promoting DEI within EDCO. I also recognize that collaboration is at the heart of EDCO's mission, and I see myself continuing to work in collaboration with fellow board members, stakeholders, and community organizations to explore new avenues and partnerships that drive economic development in Ontario. With my background as a part-time college professor, I recognize the value of education and knowledge sharing. I will support EDCO's mission by advocating for and participating in educational initiatives that empower members and help them thrive in the economic development landscape. I'm also committed to advocating for policies that support EDCO's mission, whether that be at the provincial or national level. I will actively engage and use my stakeholder relations to advocate for policy change and for economic development to remain a top priority. Also, my dedication to fostering leadership and mentorship. I see myself continuing to mentor emerging professionals and offering guidance for them as I started my journey with EDCO through the mentorship program. So that one has a very special place in my heart, and I would like to see it grow and give back that way as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Noor. Hannah.
You. I'm committed to supporting this organization's mission by adding value, sharing ideas and best practices where I can, and also leveraging my network to bring in other individuals who may have expertise in areas that I don't where applicable. And I think I'm just really passionate about, raising awareness about the profession as a whole, encouraging those early on in their careers to get involved. And kind of being immersed back in the university world again. In my MBA, there's about 60 students in Toronto, and I'm one of 2 in government, so gotta represent for ECDEV. But I've been learning a lot, and I think being able to apply that private sector lens to the work that we do is super important, because so much of the work that we do is supporting the private sector. And then also thinking about getting involved in working with other post-secondary institutions outside of those that offer, economic development programming. As we've heard today, we all have various ways that we've entered into this profession, which has been super interesting. I'm also just sitting here thinking about, if all of us took the time to have coffee with 3 people to talk about EDCO and talk about some ideas for EDCO in the future, and all reported back on it, the power of that would be pretty amazing. So I would also be an advocate for regional collaboration, and just to kind of echo the earlier points, see the opportunity and be committed to look at those common challenges and how can we tackle that together, similar to the work that I do at the county with our 18 area municipalities. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. And Vito.
Thanks, Rob. So I see myself supporting EDCO's mission in several meaningful ways. So first, advocating for sustainable economic development. I believe in the synergy between economic growth and environmental responsibility, and I will actively promote sustainable economic development practices. This includes advocating for initiatives that help Ontario's communities thrive economically while preserving and enhancing their natural surroundings as well. And by working with stakeholders, I aim to help shape policies and strategies that align with EDCO's vision as well. Secondly, mentoring and capacity building. EDCO's mission includes strengthening member capacity, and I see myself actively participating in this way. I am committed to lifelong learning and professional growth, and I would be eager to just mentor and share knowledge with fellow members, and just facilitating the exchange of best practices and innovative ideas as well. And this will contribute to the professional development of economic developers across the province in that way. Thirdly, promoting collaboration. So to advance the profession and support municipalities, collaboration is really key. So I envision myself fostering relationships and partnerships between EDCO and local government officials, business leaders, and community organizations by promoting a collaborative approach, and we can collectively work towards economic prosperity and sustainability in Ontario with that. Fourthly, strategic planning and organizational sustainability. So I believe in the importance of that as a fundamental element of EDCO's mission. So I see myself contributing by participating in the strategic planning process and advocating for financial stability and ensuring the organizations continues to operate transparently and with accountability. Fifthly, community engagement. So EDCO's mission touches the lives of individuals and communities across Ontario. And I see myself engaging with these communities, understanding their unique challenges, and just working to tailor EDCO's initiatives to address those specific requirements. And finally, just by leveraging technology and innovation. So I think in
2 minutes.
Last few oh, was it 2 minutes now? Okay. So that was the final one there. Thank you.
Thank you, Vito. And last but certainly not least, Meredith.
Thanks, Rob. I spend my time professionally encouraging positive and responsible growth, and I will continue to lead EDCO's advocacy efforts and throwing the best conference in EDCO's history in 2024. I've got the best of the best helping me pull that event together, and I hope to see you all there. I'm a natural cheerleader and connector for my colleagues in the profession. I'm sitting here looking at my fellow candidates, and I've worked with most of them in some sort of capacity. And everyone is well deserving for a position on the board. Hannah and I worked together in Perth County. She covered my maternity leave with my son during a very turbulent time in Perth County. Cephas, fellow SOMA board member, my sparring partner and trade show step counter. Tyson, my Ontario food cluster buddy and resource share. Vito, my fellow government relations committee member, and Noor, a fellow board member, friend, DEI change maker, and fitness motivator. I truly believe that we all need to work together collaboratively, not only for our respective municipalities, but for our entire province. I believe that we are all in this together and that we need to work together. Helen Keller once said, alone we can do so little, but together we can do so much. And I truly believe this to be true, especially in municipal government. And a diverse board from across the province is needed for EDCO. So thank you.
Well, that's our I guess a wrap for this. This was our first attempt at doing this, and it has been really very interesting. It's given all the candidates an opportunity to reach out to the membership, and you know, we've recorded this session, and we'll put it on the EDCO website to make sure that those who couldn't necessarily attend today will have an opportunity to hear the candidates' views and to hear the questions that were put to them. I guess to wrap up, I wanted to thank all the candidates for coming on today and to giving us your answers to the questions. But also beyond that, just for your interest in the EDCO board. I've spent 8 years on the EDCO board. It's been extremely rewarding, and I'm glad to see that we have new people looking to come onto the board. And I certainly hope that you know, we continue to see really strong candidates, as all of you are, come forward for board positions. To the members, thank you very much for attending. Please remember to vote. The voting closes on December 1st, so you got just a little less than a month. You're going to receive an email following today's session. If you have any questions or any issues with receiving the voting email, please contact Laura DeMille for assistance. Laura can be reached at laura.demille@edco.on.ca. And I think that should be it for today. Thank you once again, everybody, for attending and for participating. And we look forward to your votes.
Thanks, Rob. Impressive keeping all those lists straight. Well done.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Good job.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.